So what kind of enclosures do you use?
We have a few different ones because we've kind of built as we've gone. This one with the green siding is actually a horse enclosure, roofed in building, and we enclosed it and then separated it into 4 sections. So the pen that these guys are in, we can actually split in half too if we have grow outs that we need to put in there. With having the flexible chickens and with raising chicks, you have to have separate areas to keep the extra roosters because you don't want them mingling in with your breeding stock. And so we have a couple different pens. I do like the one area that all the runs are running off of. We just use the garden fencing, and then here soon we're gonna put netting up over everybody because of the ravens. The best part, or the best preventative measure of predators, is to not let them get any food. We have electric fencing up, but we're currently working on that now, so it is down. And then we have some small coops that are in separate areas, but I do like having the bigger metal-sided buildings better. I think it's definitely a lot better. Someday I want a barn with a walkway down the middle and different breeding or raising out pens on either side with the runs would be really nice.
That would. Ooh. So how do you control temperature, lighting, and ventilation?
So temperature, we do have all of the coops that are used in the winter time. They are insulated. We did the roofs this past fall because if you have the walls insulated, the chickens create so much heat that it would make condensation on the roof. So we also did the roof as well. We don't give them any extra heat. It's really good to let them get the feathers naturally and slowly acclimate to the cold. If it is a really cold day, we won't let them out because then they build up the heat with a closed door. In the summertime, I have shade cloths that go over one section of all the runs. And then we do actually put sprinklers up once in a while too if it's like really hot, 95, 100. And that gives the chickens somewhere to go. Also, they actually love playing in the water. The babies will give a little, like a foot pool that they can walk through. It's pretty funny. They like that. But no added heat unless there's like an extreme drop of 30 degrees, because otherwise they can just kind of acclimate and get used to it. Because if you do give them heat and then the power goes out, they're used to that warmth, and then all of a sudden they don't have anything, and it can be too much of a shock for them.
How do you reduce stress in your chickens?
We don't really have any other dogs coming on the property. That can definitely stress them out. There's not a lot of visitors just because of being NPIP certified. You don't really want a lot of people coming. And then I think just having the netting over too, you can definitely tell they know when that is there and when it's not for predators. We always lock them up every single night also, so they know that their coops are a safe spot. Also, probably another big thing is if there's any treating of anything that needs to be done, or if we need to grab any birds. I do it at night when they're on the roost, so I'm not chasing them around the yards. That definitely is probably a big one. It's just really easy to grab them or put a dropper on them if you need to put some warmer on them. Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm like, why doesn't everybody think of that? They're sleeping.
Yeah, that's
so easy.
That's a really good idea. I just
Right. Yep. I wish I could get all of them that tame where I could get them to just run up to me. There's certain ones that do, like, believe it or not, the horn hybrids over there are one of the first ones to come up to me. They're usually known as a flighty bird, but they're like the first ones over here. And then the leg bars are also super friendly, but I don't know. I tried one year with the flock that I had to hold them all the time and get them really friendly. And I didn't spend like 4 or 5 days with them, and they're like, stranger! So I was like, whatever. I'll just feed you.
Yeah, my Orpingtons are really friendly.
Right.
My Americanas, not so much.
Right.
I don't know why. Maybe we didn't handle them enough. They're just not as comfortable unless we're giving treats.
Right.
And it's just those 2 Americanas that I have, Tigress and Topaz. They'll run up to me and sploot down.
Right.
They're ready. But they're the only 2. All the other Americanas, they don't want anything to do with me.
Right. My mom always said that Buff Orpingtons were the friendliest and best chicken, but the one that I had really did not like me. And I was like, are you sure they're friendly? She's like, well, with everybody else they are. I'm like, thanks.
Aww.
Thanks.
That's so sweet to
Okay.
say. Okay, so I think we're on the last 3 questions. And then we'll take some pictures, and then I'll get out of your hair.
All right. No problem.
Hi, pretty. All right. So what technology do you use for breeding and incubation?
We started with a really small countertop incubator, and then of course you can only do so many eggs, and since it takes 21 days to hatch, you were limited to that amount. So we did upgrade to the GQF cabinets downstairs, which can hold about 270 eggs. You just set 1 tray or shelf at a time, which is usually about 90-ish eggs, and then you just kind of rotate those up. And then because hatching kind of creates a lot of dust and yuck in the incubator, when they're hatching out, we didn't really want them in with the eggs, so we bought a hatcher so that we can just put them into the hatcher, which is also a cabinet, and hatch them out in there, because when you put them in lockdown, you're not supposed to open them for the 3 days or whatever. It's 3 days of lockdown. So then you wouldn't be able to access the rest of your eggs. So this way, having a separate hatcher really does help with that. And then we actually found a second group also that we were able to pick up secondhand. And then the brooder tower, that is really nice because it has all of the control panels, all the heat plates. You can make it warmer or colder for the chicks if you need to. So that has definitely been nice. I use a plain whiteboard for the hatch dates, because when you have that many different groups, like right now, I think I can only fit like 60 more eggs in my incubators, both of them, and then they're full. So when you're trying to keep track of that many, because I write down the date that I set the eggs, the date that they're going to get candled at 10 days, I just check and empty, take out any of the empty eggs. And then at 18 days, they get moved to lockdown, and then I write down the hatch date. So there's like 4 dates to remember with each one. So having the whiteboard really helps keep track of that. There's apps that you can use, but I'm not as big on apps, so the whiteboard works so far. Yep.
Do you use any automated systems?
No, but someday I want to figure out how to use a automatic watering system. I told my husband he should really figure out how to put that in there with sprinklers.
Oh, we had it installed for our horses, the automatic waterer. It's so nice.
Oh, I bet.
And then finally, are there any technologies you're considering in the future?
Besides the automatic watering system, not so much. I would like to have a separate area for the chicks, a little chick hut probably. I can't think of really how you would automate that exactly. So just, and the hatcher and the incubators do have the automatic turners, which is really nice because some people hand turn their eggs. I can't imagine hand turning that many, but so that's